The number one source of friction in your engine is not what you think. Piston rings rubbing against the cylinder walls generate more friction than any other part of the engine. More friction and temperature means more wear and less horsepower. Fortunately, the team at Total Seal knows how to reduce friction and wear through innovative piston ring design. If it takes a piston, Total Seal can build a better ring.
Redline oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
Redline oil, formulated to win.
Formulated to win.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Proven by me.
Proven by me.
Redline oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
This is WFO Radio.
Hey everybody, WFO Radio is back. A huge week in the world of NHRA drag racing. Big news and a big show. We have got Richard Freeman from Elite Motorsports going to break some big news. If you get a press release in your email box, you already know. We're going to let Richard tell us. Plus, Josh Hart going to be joining us on the show, joining John Force Racing. Who's going to drive that Brittany Force Top Fuel dragster, the car that goes 340 every time out? Well, we are going to have Josh Hart on the show. So stay with us. Be ready. It is going to be great. I am fresh back from Rockingham, spent time at the NHRA double divisional at the Rock. I have my own stories, some crazy stories. Could I get the Holly EFI Never Rest Performer of the Race Award? I don't know. That is all possible. Before we get to Richard, just want to thank the people who make it possible. Bernie Speed Shop, BURNYZZ.com, Foggett, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Appreciate them as well. Marvin Rodex, coffeeandgrills.com, Hussey Performance, FTI, my new converter worked flawlessly. FTIperformance.com. Just amazing. Total Seal piston rings. Clearly, we got a lot going on. It is all happening, and Richard Freeman is on the move. But what I want to do is I want to remind everybody, Richard has moved to a new location. So while he's doing that, let's go back 1 year ago on WFO Radio. The interview that shocked the world, and many people told me, not going to happen. It's not going to happen, Joe. Why did you even do that? It's not going to happen. Let's go back 1 year prior to this and watch Richard Freeman on WFO.
I don't think there's any secret. First of all, my passion is pro stock. I love it. I have no interest in leaving that, but we are looking to possibly expand again into Top Fuel. I have on order 2 brand new trailers for Top Fuel. I've ordered 2 brand new cars from the guys at PDRC. And we are going to build the infrastructure while we work on funding. I will make clear that we absolutely will not make that move until the proper funding is in place and the proper alignment with someone to make that program come to realization. So yes, we would like to expand into the fuel ranks.
And that is all you need to know. Let's bring him on. Richard Freeman from Elite Motorsports. Richard, it was 1 year ago. You came on the show. You said you had plans. Here we are a little more than a year later, and you're making huge announcements. What do you have to say to everybody out there?
Well, first of all, I don't remember what I said on your show a year ago. You didn't let me watch that.
Well, you were moving. You're on the move. You basically told the world you were going to run Top Fuel. You ordered some cars. You were going to get some funding. You were going to try to expand again. And all of those things have happened. You have got a partnership with Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart has agreed to drive. If only you could find some funding. Do you have any news for us?
I do. We have signed a multi-year deal with R&L Carriers, which come together very, very fast. And we couldn't be more than happy. Robbie, Roberts and the group, his brother-in-law, Brent Probasco. We had some discussions early after I bought the stuff from Josh, and Josh was involved in those discussions early on, and it worked. It worked out for both. Josh has got a great thing moving forward here, and we feel like the same goes for us. And we are super stoked about what we got going on here at Elite Motorsports.
Multiple announcements to discuss because you made a crew chief announcement, but I want to dissect them one by one. Before we do that, your team has learned over the past couple of years about keeping things that are first. How's your brother? What did he just go through?
So yeah, and that there again, I'm sitting in the truck, right? We had some things we just have to do today. My brother Robert underwent a kidney transplant yesterday. What an amazing thing that we got to witness. I had a kid that worked for me. His name is Mason. That when his kidneys failed about a year ago, Mason come to us and he said, "Hey, if I'm a match, I'm donating a kidney." And he was a perfect match. They took Mason in yesterday morning early, took a kidney from him.
We just lost Richard's audio. We lost your audio, Richard. Someone's texting you. There you go. Now your audio is back, but your video is not. Enable your camera, please.
I don't know how to do all this.
There you go. Now you're back. So, continue on. Mason donated a kidney.
Yeah, Mason donated a kidney to my brother. Both of them are doing fantastic and they're healing. That's where we're headed right now, going up to check on my brother. So we appreciate all the prayers and stuff out there. My program's been through some hell of late. I had lots of health issues, as everybody knows. We've talked about that, but got some exciting stuff going on in our camp for sure.
You do. All right. So let's get to the hard news of it. You mentioned Josh. Josh is our next guest. We're all very excited. He's in the premier top fuel dragster on the planet, certainly the fastest one. We're going to talk to him about that. But out there at Dallas, some people were like, "Oh, Richard, they're stealing sponsors." Can you talk about how this came together so people can understand your side of it?
Yeah. First of all, there's no stealing sponsors or crew chief. So, we live in a free country, but the deal with R&L was, it's almost unbelievable. And Josh can attest to this. So right after I purchased Josh's program, my understanding from Josh was he had some other things in the works we couldn't talk about, but R&L would be moving along with him. And that kind of left it at that. But I was sitting at home one night and I got a text, and I'll fill you in a little bit because it takes a little while. But I got a text from a gentleman. I had no idea who it was, calling me about a motor coach, and we had this text thread going on, and for an hour or so. He said, I think I might just order a new one. And I said, man, I'd love the opportunity to help you with that. And he said, yeah, and I'll probably provide my own truck. And I said, okay, that's no problem. We do that all the time. I said, and we started talking about, would he need financing? He said, no, I own a trucking company. I didn't know. I had no idea who it was. And he sent me a picture in a text. So of the trucking company he owned, R&L Carriers. And I said, no way. So immediately, Joe, as we know how this sport is, I immediately got on the phone with Josh Hart and said, hey, I just want you to know this is a complete coincidence. I didn't reach out. And so that's how all of this started. And when Robbie, we were talking through that stuff, and he found out that I'd purchased the program, found out who was driving it, had some discussions with Josh. I had discussions with Josh. Robbie Roberts and Josh Hart are good friends, still good friends today. And the conversations were just about what's best for everyone. And so that's really all there is to be said. I just did a deal with Josh. He can fill you in on that when it want, but we just bought a group of cars together, Josh and I. So there's a new relationship that has come from me buying Josh's program. And Josh and I become kind of friends through if you remember, about 3 years ago, a little scuffle in Dallas between our two programs.
I do.
I didn't know Josh Hart, and since then I've bought motorhomes from him, and he's done business with me, and so I can tell you there are no hard feelings. I didn't steal a sponsor, and we are all moving forward. Josh is happy about what he's doing. We're happy about what we're doing, and you never know. You don't know when those paths will cross again.
Well, I like hearing that. Yes, we'll have Josh on. He's got a good deal going with John Force Racing, and I'm excited for him as well. You're in school and you end up in a scuffle or a little fight with a kid, and then you end up best friends the next couple of days. Like that's not right. Beyond the pale. But this is wild. What a silly season we have. In the clip we played of you, you said you had seen some things in Top Fuel that you felt like you guys could do better. You've now partnered with Tony Stewart. He's going to drive the car. I understand that Robbie from R&L is I don't want to say he's a fan of Tony Stewart, but he appreciates Tony Stewart. And this is an opportunity to get involved with Tony Stewart and Elite Motorsports together.
That's right. And, as I've told you before, Joe, we've had many conversations outside of this, and I have different ideas of, what I would like a program to look like. And we're doing some things that I believe have never been done before. I know that Don Schumacher, the late Don Schumacher, he had multiple teams in different categories. But there were walls up between all those teams. When Jeg Coughlin and Erica were a part of that back in the day, and they didn't intermingle. That's not what we're doing. We are going to change this sport the way we want it to look, and we're going to do it through just treating it like we have in everything else. It's going to be built around family.
Well, I know there is an Elite Motorsports style. I'm excited about seeing it, like however this works up in the Nitro ranks. And so let's move on to the crew chiefing announcement, Mike Green. And so you don't have to be, a detective to figure out that Mike was over there at Skag. Skag was on your Pro Stock car earlier this week, or last week. You announced that Jeg and both Troy are going to be in Jeg's cars next year. And so it made me think that Skag is probably not going to be with you guys next year, especially now that Mike is coming to you guys. Can you give some clarity on that?
Yeah, the clarity is there's a relationship.
Oh, we lost your audio again. Come back. We lost your audio again. Richard, hit it. Yeah.
They go way back. Can you now?
Yeah,
sorry about that. That was Josh Hart calling, by the way. The back to the Mike Green deal.
Yes.
I didn't, there was no funny stuff going on there. Mike Green was top of my list. If I were going to hire a crew chief to go start a program, build a program, he was top of the list. I didn't reach out to Mike Green. There was just conversation through lots of people that are involved in our program. And Mike and I had a discussion. He wanted to know what our plans were, what we were doing. And I'll be honest with you, I shared with him my vision about who's next, my vision about building a program, not stopping at one car or two cars, about what we've done in Pro Stock. And Mike said he'd like to be a part of it. And that's how it started, and that's how it ended. Mike was looking forward to finishing his deal out for the season, but that didn't happen. And so that's the reason that announcement come out as quick as it did. Was not the plans, but it is what it is. So we are super excited about what we're doing, and we're more than elated to have Mike Green be a part of our deal. He is more than a crew chief, in my opinion. He's going to be there at the shop every day, helping build a program for sustainability. And we're going to work on trying to reduce costs together. We're going to work on who's next crew chief wise, young people. That is some of the things that were very important to me in hiring a crew chief, and Mike checked all those boxes.
At the shop, where is that going to be?
Indy. We're going to leave it. It's staying right where it's at right now. I mean, we got to get our feet on the ground first, get all this stuff done. My hopes would be to either maybe do something with Tony, build onto his shop, his current facility, build another one, buy something. I'm not much of a renter, but for right now, that's what we'll do.
Okay. Crew guys, we hear it throughout. Like you've got these big, you're putting the chess pieces in place rapidly. Sponsor, multi-year deal, R&L Carriers, probably more to come. Crew chief in place, Mike Green, veteran, championship winner. But the real challenge, from what I understand in my conversations, is finding crew guys. You've got like 90 of them over there doing pro stock guys. Are you going to pull some of your best guys from the pro stock teams and retrain them to be nitro guys? Or are you going to hire nitro guys? Or give me some insight into that, because it's curious to me.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm going to leave that up to the people that are smart about that. Mike Green has a plan. We have talked to a lot of people, and we've had a lot of people reach out. I think you'll see that come together in the next few weeks. We want to make sure that we do it right, and we're not going to get in a hurry on that. And again, there's a lot of good people out there. To answer your question, if some of my guys on the pro stock side wanted to try that, absolutely, I wouldn't stand in their way. Because we do have some really good people. But right now, Mike's working on that and trying to figure out who fits those spots. And Josh has some great people over there. We're talking with them. But you know, they got a season to finish. So it's kind of hard right now to start that. We want people to finish what they got going on, and then we'll enter those conversations shortly after.
Excellent. You also have a season to finish as well. Erica picked up her 50th win at the U.S. Nationals, a huge win, makes the season a success to get that out of the way, regardless of, other slow start or whatever. Erica still going to get her license. We saw that in the initial announcement on the purchase that Aaron was going to get his license, and you're still hoping to have one or the other of them out there as a second car, perhaps?
100%. I mean, that's our plan. That's another thing when I was talking to Mike about what we wanted to do for the future. And Tony has his own race team. What we're doing together is, in my opinion, amazing. We have a lot of young talent under the tent, and Aaron had told me he has an interest. Of course, we know Erica's had an interest, but we won't take away from our pro stock deal. So hopefully NHRA makes that where it's allowed, where you can run 2 classes, and if they do so, then we'll try to immediately start putting a second team together for 2027.
And in the clip I played that you didn't get to hear, you'd said you had cars on order from PBRC,
Yep.
But you bought Josh's stuff. It makes sense to just speed up the deal. You're eventually going to need backups and all of that. Is that still a thing? You still got those cars coming?
We have 2 brand new cars from the guys at PBRC, and they'll be done. They'll be canopy cars. So the cars that Josh is running now are not canopy cars, and he sold one of those cars. So we have 2 brand new cars coming that Josh actually had on order. That was part of my purchase, and so all that's good.
Amazing. Final 2 races of the year. Vegas, Erica always runs well in Vegas, and then Pomona. When you look back at the playoff, let's talk a little current racing for a moment or two. It's been a 2-horse race for most of the year, but you guys got a shot to get up there and fight it out for a couple of Wallies.
Yeah, it's our year has been very disturbing to me. Still yet we're better. We're just not there yet. Which is shocking in a deal, but we have fought a lot of gremlins within our camp, personnel, health issues, all the stuff. I would just say we're 80%. We have sucked for most of the year. But you know what? Same people that I started with are here. Same people I've went to battle with. I wouldn't do it with anybody else. We will figure it out. I do believe we're better, but again, we're not as good as the two cars that we're chasing. We're just not. We're not as good with the cars. Power wise, I think we're close. I think we're closer than we seem. But we cannot run with them two cars. Greg and Dallas to the center. Why I can't tell you. We'll be testing tomorrow in Tulsa, and we're not quitters. We're gonna stay in there and keep pushing, and we'll see what transpires. We're gonna go out there and see if we can call some stuff. I do wish Dallas Glenn. I'd like to see him win the championship. I think he deserves it. He's had as good a car, and when he didn't have as good a car, he has come through in some very clutch issues, and so we at Elite Motorsports are pulling for him. Not that we have anything against Greg, but we believe Dallas deserves it. The guy. The guy puts his own awning up, does his own clutch. He works like a dog, and to me, he deserves everything he gets. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and the only problem is there's Greg Anderson over there, and that Greg is Greg.
He ain't going to go away quick, and he ain't going away easy. So he, listen, those guys are good competitors, and they have had the best two cars. I mean, they have whipped our ass this year, and either one of them deserves to win it. But again, we'd like to see Dallas pull that off. I think that'd mean a lot to him.
All right, so final just summary here, because I want to let you go. Got Josh coming on, but if there's something that I didn't ask you about that you think is important, please let me know, like something you wanted to say or something you wanted to put out there first. Is there anything that I didn't get to that you needed to put out there?
No, I mean, there's always, some smart ass remark that you'd like to make. The one thing that I will tell you is I don't post or respond to social media a lot, but the people that talk about, Elite's taking over, or Tony Stewart's taking over, or KB, whether it's on the pro stock side, what they need to know is if it wasn't for Elite Motorsports and Richard Freeman and Greg Anderson and Jim Whiteley and the KB guys and people investing into this sport, making it available, there would be no pro stock today if that wouldn't have happened. And we're going to continue growing. So I'd like for people to know what they're talking about before they run their mouth. And but other than that, you do a good job of keeping it out there, and we're super excited, and I'm sure there'll be more to come. We got a lot of exciting things happening.
All right. So now that I gave you that opportunity, and I wish for that as well, but it's not, I also know that is not ever going to happen.
That is not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. All right. A year ago, you said you were doing this. It was an idea. Some said it would never happen, or you wouldn't do it, or you were just making noise or whatever. And here we are. You got a car, you got a sponsor, you got a crew chief, you got a driver. His name's Tony Stewart. You've done all of these things, and you said it's exciting, and I'm excited about it too. If I was a fan of drag racing, which I am, I would be feeling positive about 2026 and beyond. But take that business owner, team owner hat off, and just what are you excited about? Like racing these guys, like getting into nitro. You're a sportsman racer, Richard. You're a comp guy. You looked at car lots, I know your background. To get to this level and get the opportunity to roll out a top fuel dragster and race against the best of the best, including John Force Racing, just kind of give me your attitude on that. Like, how exciting is this? What are you most excited for now that this is becoming a reality?
What I'm excited about is a small town guy from Lindsay, Oklahoma, who lived through all the people in my little small town telling me that, race cars are what broke my father back in the 90s and this and that. And now we get to, as a family, live this out. And my dad is watching up there from above, getting to do what we love to do. And we haven't stopped growing yet. And I have a lot of fantastic people that have helped that happen, from Jason Johnson to the R&L group, to Mark Melling, to Mark Stockseth, just all the people that have been so instrumental in allowing us to do what we love. And then just as much as that, and I mentioned it a while ago on another show that I did, but was people like Jeg Coughlin, Erica Enders, the Stanfields now, who become part of our family. There are things that people don't talk about that, in my opinion, are very important. The Stanfields have their own engine shop, but they're part of our family as well. We are competitors on a certain part of our business, but we're family on this part of the business. Jeg Coughlin, if it wasn't for Jeg Coughlin, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. If it wasn't for Erica Enders, wouldn't be out where I'm at today. So that's what I'm most excited about. And now this relationship with Tony Stewart. So to all the people that have a dream, don't stop. No is not, people can tell you no and kick you in the nuts as long as you want. Just keep pushing, keep pushing. And so that's what I'm excited about.
Thank you, Richard. No, I appreciate it. All the best to Robert. I know there's more to come. You'll come back, but thank you very much for choosing WFO to reveal this plan a year ago, and now coming on the show to put icing on the cake, if you will. Good luck and all the best to your brother, Robert.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Later, Richard. Richard Freeman with us here on WFO Radio. So there's the news. There is the news regarding the Elite Motorsports Top Fuel car. R&L Carriers going there. The question about Josh Hart, he gave us an answer, which I think is exciting, but we're going to talk to Josh, right? We're going to cover the other side of it, because his story of anything's possible gets better and better, because he's going to be driving the world's fastest top fuel dragster very, very soon. That is pretty amazing. Josh Hart will be joining us just seconds from now. I will take a quick break. I will come back, and Josh Hart will join us after this.
For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod Driveline Components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
Looking to replace your OEM diesel particulate filter or diesel oxidation catalyst? Look no further than DPF XFit, a complete line of aftermarket diesel particulate filters and diesel oxidation catalysts designed as an exact fit OEM replacement with all makes coverage for light, medium, and heavy-duty trucks. With thousands of units in stock, we ship the same or next day, and be sure to check out our comprehensive reverse OEM lookup tool. Always new, never remanufactured. For more information, be sure to visit dpfxfit.com. That's dpfxfit.com.
Drag racing fans, check out Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It's the free, family-friendly fantasy bracket game. Now, after final qualifying at every national event, you can fill out your bracket for all the pro classes.
It's free, easy to click on your picks. If you need some help, just hit the randomizer button to fill in the blanks. It's for fun, stay engaged, and pick your winners today.
Race Bracket Bonanza is available. The final two races, just use the promo code WFO Radio and get in on that. So Richard Freeman, that was really interesting and illuminating. And he said a lot of things, and it was his perspective. And I felt like I pressed and I asked to try to genuinely understand the way it all worked out. We're going to bring on Josh Hart just seconds from now, talk about John Force Racing, get his side of it, because there is a connection. Josh even had a quote in the big Elite Motorsports release. Before I do that, though, I want to mention to everybody out there, Daniel Wilkerson is the topic of the new NHRA Driven show. Part 2 has just dropped. So after WFO Radio is over and you get done sharing this show, please share the show so the world of drag racing can hear these blockbuster and amazing interviews. We got a great audience. I'm going to talk about my experience at the Rock where I was driving. It's going to be great. but share this show. Let's get the word out. People in their own voice telling their story. But go check out Driven on NHRA's YouTube channel. Daniel Wilkerson is the topic. It's a 2-part episode. Part 2 just dropped. Also, Attention in the Pits, Gareth Senkow, an amazing Plymouth Fury with a great history. Go check them all out. But right now, let's bring on the John Force Racing and John Force Racing's newest driver, Josh Hart. Josh, welcome to WFO.
Hey, Joe. Thanks for having me on.
They say anything's possible. Is this evidence that that's true?
I can't think of a better example. I think that I've tried to, say it, but this proves it.
All right. So I don't expect that you were able to watch the Richard Freeman interview prior to you coming on the show. But if you weren't, he basically said that when R&L called him, he called you to make sure that you knew. There's a quote from you in the release. So people were worried that they stole your sponsor and they didn't think that was right and all of that. So you're on right after Richard said to ask you. So I'm just like floating that up for you to address and give your perspective and side so we all understand.
Yeah. So, Richard has been nothing but straight up with me. And I've been trying my best to be as straight up as possible with every single person involved in our transaction. So, there's B2B relationships here, and a lot of people don't understand that. Freeman working with, me personally, or Elite working with Bernie's, R&L working with Bernie's, the owner of R&L working with Bernie's. So there's bigger opportunities, let's say, behind the scenes outside of the racetrack. So, quite frankly, it was just something that we couldn't offer. When you think about me out there beating the drum by myself and R&L Carriers supporting one car, that sounds really great. But Richard has a heck of an offering. I don't even know 10, 13 cars, so I'm happy for everybody involved.
Excellent. And that, I think, because, in the pits in Dallas, people were saying before it was all announced as the rumors swept over the sport. I'm glad to hear you position it that way so that we can now move forward. And like Josh Hart isn't a victim here. Josh Hart gets to drive for John Force Racing. Can you give us some insight into how this came together, going from being a team owner? I will tell you, if you watch NHRA.TV, you were leaving a lot of breadcrumbs. You were given hints. You were leaving breadcrumbs. People could have figured this out, but give us your version of how it all came together.
So, obviously Bernie's is growing up exponentially from what my wife and I created, and it was just taking its toll on us. We've really expanded. We've doubled our workforce. We're really trying to put a huge foundation in place where we can grow this thing and scale it properly. And I just felt like the race team was also growing, but maybe in the wrong direction. And for me, if I can't do it 100%, I don't want to do it. I never wanted to own a top fuel team. That was never the plan. And I just had to play the cards that I was dealt. And I think we did a pretty good job. We worked really, really hard. We put the best parts and pieces and people that we could obtain in place. And it just didn't work out for me personally. When I say it was Brittany and I doing all the work, it was Brittany and I doing all the work. And a lot of that fell on her, which nobody sees. She's the magician behind the curtain that's making sure logistics and fuel and IFTA and registration and all these things, that nobody sees or appreciates. She was making sure all that stuff fell into place. And she also funnels all of the finances for our other companies outside of Bernie's even. So, you just got to kind of reconcile yourself and say, is it worth it? And, John and I talked briefly in November. We talked again at Bradenton, and things started getting a little bit serious in Arizona. And, I didn't know if it was going to work out or not, but it just incrementally kept getting more and more promising. And truthfully, I had hoped that the performance of our team would turn around and it would be a non-issue. And obviously that didn't happen. So I give you a lot of information there, but the truth is, as a driver, all you can really do is drive the car and cut a good light. And I feel like I do a pretty good job of that. Elon tells me I'm in the top 3. But after that, you're relying on every single other thing to go perfectly. And it just was like the stars wouldn't align. So you take the stress behind the scenes and the stress on the track, and it just wasn't adding up to us anymore. I think we built a great program. I think that Richard has no apologies whatsoever for what he's bought. It's top of the line. It's all brand new. And I think they're going to do really great with it.
Well, and Tony Stewart is one who says that this is a type of racing that the driver has the least effect on the outcome. Like, you can only do what you can do. And so that makes perfect sense. And it also makes sense that you and your wife, Brittany, right? Like, you're driving Brittany Force's Top Fuel dragster in the future, but I want everybody to know that Brittany Hart is who he's referring to, in case anybody gets confused there. Like, what's he talking about? You have only so much bandwidth in your life. You've got 2 small children. Running a Top Fuel team sounds like it would be a full-time job in addition to all of that. So basically, you're rolling up the Top Fuel team, you sell it to Richard, but the resources that are going into it, you're partnering with John Force Racing. To me, that sounds smart, but now you got to live up to the hype, right, Josh? Like, wow, like, you are now in the car. It's won 2 world championships. It's 340 mile per hour. It's all the top 10 or nearly most of the top 10 fastest runs of all time. How excited are you for this opportunity and taking a lot of intense pressure upon yourself?
I just keep telling myself I'm a diamond, right? And I love pressure. But, I got to tell you, I walked into John Force Racing, and believe it or not, I'd never been in there before. And I got to really see behind the scenes of something magical. I mean, just years and years of dedication to the sport of drag racing. And man, it does not disappoint. Just unbelievable technology, great people everywhere you turn. Grubnick walked me around and showed me all of the stuff and resources that they have under that one roof. And it took my breath away. And then, yeah, of course, you're walking up to the magical car, 340 mile an hour. And I'm looking at this thing going, well, I know she's shorter than me. There's no way I'm going to fit. And I slid right in it like it was Cinderella's slipper. Strange, but true. And I could not have been more elated. I was so excited, and truthfully, a little still starstruck. Grubnick's talking to me like, I'm just one of the guys. The team was amazing, very, very welcoming. John Collins, we sat in the lounge and we had like our first real meeting. So just so excited and blessed, and truly like a pinch me moment, which in my mind brings me right back to day one at Gainesville. It's like a storybook. And I'm just waiting for it to play out. I'm so excited to kind of open up a new chapter.
So, baseball reference, I would say, you going to play for the New York Yankees, right? And people would say, hey, Joe, say the Dodgers or say the Blue Jays right now. But, the storied franchise, the place that is unbelievable. If we were doing a Formula One reference, people might say Ferrari, like you're going there and you're walking around. This is John Force. How amazing is that? Did you have relationships with Grubnick, with those guys, with John Collins prior to that? Or is this kind of like you're meeting new people? Even though we're all in the same 1 square mile on race weekends, there's not necessarily a lot of conversation like that.
Yeah, and actually that's something that I admire about that team. They're very reserved, very professional at every turn. I love it. But no, I had not spoken one word, not even a hello, that I can remember prior to that meeting.
Wow. That is wild. And so Richard mentioned something that this is a silly thing, but that his team and your team got into a fight in Dallas like 3 years ago, and now you guys are doing business together. Remember that?
Yeah, it's strange how my life works, but that's kind of like the story. Some of the best relationships that I've developed, even in my business here at Bernie's, is like they came in, they were upset, the perception was wrong, and ended up being one of our best clients for the longest periods of time. So yeah, I did meet Richard that way. I obviously was not directly involved in the altercation, but I was witness to it. And man, it was a crazy start to the relationship. But shortly thereafter, I noticed he was selling coaches and high-end trailers and stuff like that. So believe it or not, he was my first phone call because he was so straight up and honest with me after the altercation. Like, we had team members trying to like battle it out over the phone and be these tough guys and stuff. And Richard just called me and said, "Hey, could you stop this?" And I did, so it's been an interesting relationship, but it is continually getting better and better.
Well, and the parallel is that early in your driving career, you and Brittany / John Force Racing had a little wrinkle, like a little thing early on, and you end up driving for them. Like, I don't know what lesson I'm trying to create for the audience out there, but there's something there.
Yeah, and again, that was all me as in my perception. Again, I was like the super fan that got to drive one of these things. So you're driving it, you just beat Brittany Force, and you're like trying to congratulate, trying to, I didn't know, ignorance is bliss. And now I will tell you that I've been beat down and beat down and beat down for years. So I definitely understand what she was feeling. It's long water under the bridge, but man, I get it. The emotions are so high. The pressure is so much that it's hard for a normal person to even comprehend what you're going through. And when they shove a microphone in your face right after going 330 mile an hour, you don't know what's going to come out sometimes. It just happens. So, like I said, it's a lot, and it'll make you and it'll break you.
I believe that. No, I believe that. I've had that experience myself of things coming out of my mouth that I really don't want to come out of there. All right. Side of the car. Is it going to say Bernie's? Like you told me at the start of the season, me and Alan, we were on here and you revealed the investment that has happened into Bernie's Speed Shop and all the good things that were happening in Bernie's. So is it going to be like a rotation of sponsors? Is John Force Racing going to have sponsors? I know they've got a whole host of their affiliates. Like, what has been ironed out that you can share about the look of your new race car?
I'm going to say that when I mentioned restarting a new chapter, we're going to unveil the Bernie's Speed Shop car in Gainesville and start this thing all over again. So it'll be Bernie's Speed Shop as a primary for Gainesville, and then we'll have many more announcements to come.
Wow, that is very exciting. All right, so for the remainder of these two races, though, what's happening with that? Because it's like stuff that Richard has agreed to buy. As I understand it, is that in any way a little sticky being out there running the stuff?
Oh no. I mean, again, two good business people putting their heads together. We agreed to a true up period. So, essentially we have a gentleman's agreement. And then at the end of this thing, we do an inventory and that's that. So I think everybody's on the same page.
I gave Richard the opportunity, and I want to give it to you as well. Like, I don't always ask the right question. Maybe there's a piece of information that you were wanted to drop on us that I just didn't get to it, right? But so is there any piece of information that you feel like needs to be known that you want to put out there, something you want to say to the fans, to the audience, to the WFO universe out there? And in all honesty, Josh has been a big supporter of WFO radio for several years now. And, I admire what he has done as a business owner and as a driver. It has been a little bit of a tough run, but look, you're fighting through it. Is there anything you want to say to the audience that I didn't ask you about? Something else?
I would say that my silence isn't a weakness. I've always been of the opinion that, you work hard in silence and let your success be your noise. And this 4 years has been brutal, so that should be a testament to my investment and dedication to NHRA and my drag racing career. I never had any intention of going anywhere, but I also couldn't unveil where I was going. So everything's starting to fall into place. We're extremely blessed. This will relieve the pressure of owning both operations. Hopefully it will, improve my home life, and I can be awesome on the drag strip and start to enjoy it and have fun again. That was the goal the entire time. I feel like we did a great job for R&L Carriers. I really did give it 110+%. I love all those people. I know them all by first name. So the people that I interacted with in our hospitality area, they're always going to be welcome around me. When we put this thing in the winner's circle, which we will, I'll invite them down to the winner's circle pictures. I want all of them around me. So God bless everybody. There's no ill will here. We're ready to rock.
All right. So on that's good. I love you saying that, because it opens up for this. Are you ready for this white hot spotlight? Like the John Force Racing spotlight, like the biggest job in drag racing, Brittany Force going off to start a family. And you are, like your media friendliness has come a long way. And you are now, I think, your true and genuine self when you're on the camera and everything. But all of a sudden, it's a new gear, man. You got John Force reporting coming at you. People are going to want to know everything. Are you ready for that?
I am 100% ready to elevate. That's the game. So I had somebody on social media say something like, I think Josh Hart's on Quaaludes. And I was like, wow, I must be a hell of a driver if I can do it on Quaaludes. But, it's just hilarious, some of the social media crap. But, I'll tone it out. I'll chop the tree down. We'll win races. I'll elevate just fine.
And the rest is history, right? Like that's really all you need to do. In the end, you're not a dancer or a singer or a clown, or you are a driver whose job it is to drive and win races. And if you do that, then everything else falls into place beyond it. And we know you love music and you drum and you have a sense of humor, but you only get to show that when you get a bunch of interviews on a race day, and that only comes from winning races. And so, Josh, thank you for coming on WFO and sharing this story, for being a big supporter of the show throughout. And I wish you good luck. Like, this is very exciting to see you go. And again, clearly, anything is possible.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate everybody. We'll see you soon.
There he goes. Josh Hart. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate you. Josh Hart with us here on WFO Radio. How about that, guys? So you just got Richard Freeman, Josh Hart, cleared up a ton of things, especially as related to R&L to Elite, Josh to Force, who's happy, who's not happy. Sounds like everybody is happy. Mike Green going to Elite Motorsports. That's a different story. We will discuss that. I mean, I know Mike is happy, but Tommy Delago is going to crew chief Justin Ashley for the final two races. And they are still maybe not in the championship hunt, like a favorite, but there is an outside opportunity. That's a big story. We're going to get into all of that coming up on the show. But I am going to tell you about a couple of the people that make it possible for me to go WFO. Guys, I ask you to subscribe. Subscribe to this show. Whether it was 1 year ago when Richard told us about this plan, and so many people said, not going to happen. Joe, why are you doing that? It's not going to happen. I got a pretty good feeling. We're not 100%. We're not batting 1,000 when it comes to the things that our guests say coming true, but we got a pretty good rep. And so click subscribe, and we have great guests on the show. And we're going to go right through the off season. That's important for you guys to know. We'll be talking about Project Pontiac at Rockingham. But first, I want to mention the folks at Redline Synthetic Oil. Redline on board with WFO here throughout the 2025 season. Mark Beatty and the guys over there supporting so many drivers. So next time you get a chance, like for instance, I had to drain my water at a bit of a never rest moment in Rockingham. I had to go to an auto parts store and purchase a product to go back in my rate. It was water wetter 100%. And hopefully you will do that too. Check them out, Redline Synthetic Oil. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School just posted some great photos of their recent graduates. To me, the Dragster Adventure is what you want to do for the holidays. Like, go treat yourself to a day with Frank, driving his dragsters with his safety equipment. Maybe you and your family, you and your wife, your sales associates, your best clients. FrankHawley.com to find out more. Certainly, check it out. FTI Performance Transmissions and Torque Converters. Before the Rock, we swapped out the converter. The line on the graph is perfect. I'm super excited about the FTI converter in Project Pontiac. The 180 straight cut gear set, power glide, everything that they have done. Greg and Grant and everybody up there at FTI has treated me so well. It's a Paul Lee company. So next time you need a torque converter, whether you're ordering through one of the catalogs or you're calling them direct, please mention WFO Radio and go FTI. because I couldn't be happier. HusseyPerformance.net. Quality copper head gaskets, yes, but not just copper anymore. Now they do composite gaskets, whether oil pan gaskets, valve cover gaskets, alcohol cars, top dragster, top sportsman. They have contingency programs, both in the NHRA and PDRA. But the thing that makes them different is the customer service. Call David Allen and the team. Give the number, 412-716-4872. Whatever your car, whatever your design, they've got a laser set up. They'll cut them out and send them to you, usually within hours, just hours. HusseyPerformance.net. Big thanks to those guys. Of course, Bernie's Speed Shop. BURNYZZ.com. The Bernie's John Force Racing Top Fuel Dragster. How big a deal is that? Going out there going 340? I'm excited for Josh. They got 100,000 square feet. They buy and sell on consignment. So if and they're always looking for inventory. So if you've got that classic car, muscle car, exotic car that you want to sell, and you're like, how do I sell it? Reach out to Bernie's. Tell him you heard about it on WFO Radio. My great friend Marvin Rodak, RodaksCoffeeandGrills.com. I am drinking this now. This is, oh my gosh, it smells so good. The Stampede of Speed Kenya Bold. This is made specifically. This is the coffee they were serving at the Stampede of Speed. It's available to you. 817-924-6821. Call Marvin. Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology, TotalSeal.com. Great new episodes of Hidden Horsepower, ongoing and coming. But really, by now, you should know, if you're building an engine of any kind, Total Seal is the ring. And Jesse Converters, the DPF X-Fit. How about Eric Latino and Matt Latino putting up that bonus money for Pro Stock? But this is over-the-road diesel, particulate filters, OE replacements. Exactly. All the clamps, everything in the exact location. You take off the old one, you replace the new one. Check them out at Jesse Converters. All right. Let's bring on Jason Galvin. Jason Galvin, what's up, buddy? Didn't get to speak with you after the Stampede of Speed because I did a pre-recorded show with Elon. We broke down the Stampede, and then I went to Rockingham. Where
checked out.
Congratulations to your Dodgers on making the World Series.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks.
Yeah.
I've got an entire country rooting against me now. Not just other states.
Yeah, two countries, really. Yeah.
Maybe more, who knows?
Kobe's back there saying, Blue Jays.
He's literally standing here. So since we were last on WFO, Kobe went from I took a couple of steps to I walk all across the house now, all day, every day.
Oh, I hadn't considered this, that we're going to get to see this little guy grow up.
Yes, right? Yes. And yes.
WFO.
You saying hi to yourself?
Say WFO, Kobe.
The first WFO baby, Joe. Who knew?
We've had a couple over the years. We've had
Listen,
a couple.
let him think he's the first, okay?
All right. So let's go back to back. We just heard from Richard. I feel like I extracted all the vital information. What's your take?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think there were a lot of questions when that deal came out about, how's it going to work? Why that team? Why buy Josh Hart stuff? Why this? Why that? Who's going to sponsor it? Who's going to fund it? And I think, the thing that you and I had both kind of been telling people that have been asking us is it's Richard Freeman and Tony Stewart. Like, they can say everything publicly that they can say up until they can make announcements, but these two guys have a plan, right? Like, and whether it came together as quick as it's perceived to or not, doesn't really matter. The fact is that they've, in the matter of a couple of weeks, gone from announcing a team to putting together what on paper appears to be a super team, right? I mean, Tony Stewart has adapted himself to be a great driver. It's that simple. Does he cut lights like Justin Ashley? No. Does anybody know? But he's, top 5 in the class, getting off the starting line.
Wait a second. I'm gonna give Smoke a little bit of. I'm gonna say he does not have quite as much experience as Justin Ashley. He was 26 when Ida was trip zip. That was. Yeah. He's getting there. We don't know the ceiling of Tony Stewart yet. That's what I'm saying.
No, long ways away from a ceiling.
Not there
Tony
yet.
Stewart. Are you kidding me? Long ways away, right? And they went and hired Mike Green, and I mean, Mike Green won world championships with Tony Schumacher, more than one, right? Like Tony gets, Alan Johnson gets the credit for most of Tony's career, absolutely. But I mean, Mike Green was on his own for those last couple of championships, and I think it's important to remember that Mike Green also has a good relationship with the TSR Nitro folks. And while that's not a team, they have an alliance, right? But Neil Strasbaugh worked on those race cars alongside Mike Green, so they have a history of working together. I think it's brilliant, if I'm being honest. And we'll see how the rest of that team kind of comes together for next year. But
look, in the tech industry, everybody loves disruptor, go fast, break things, Elon Musk, all this. Everybody loves it. They admire it so much in the tech industry. Look at what Richard Freeman has done. He has just assembled a multi-year, financially, like, I don't know the exact numbers, but they agreed to the deal. So they got to be pretty happy with it. He's got the most well-known driver. Is Tony the most popular driver? Maybe, maybe not. Is he the most well-known driver? Yes. And a full-time sponsor and a world championship crew chief. And he has weakened one of his opponents.
Yeah.
Like I love Tommy D and we are great friends, but the two-headed monster is now a one-headed monster.
Yeah.
And so, my goodness. And let's talk a little bit about that. Mike Green leaving, Skag saying, it is my understanding that Mike wanted to finish the Final Cup races, but it didn't work out. And so now Tommy D, who I have the utmost faith that he'll be able to do it, no problem. But still, going into the final two races, down your head crew chief, that's something.
Yeah, so I heard the same thing you did, right? That the intention for Mike Green was to finish out the last two races. And as oftentimes becomes the case with stuff like this, you pick the phone up, you call your employer, and it's one thing when you call and put a 2-week or 2-month notice in, and it's another thing when the 2-week or 2-month notice is, hey guys, I'm going to one of your biggest competitors, right? And I think, I'm not privy to exactly how that conversation went down, but you and I can both do the math, and we've seen it across the board in many sports, right? If a baseball manager calls and says, hey guys, I'm retiring at the end of the year because I'm going to go be, in the front office somewhere because I'm tired of the day-to-day grind of being a manager. Okay, fine, finish out the year. But if they call, if the manager of the Diamondbacks calls and says, hey, I'm going to go be the Yankees manager next year, but I want to finish the last 3 months here, the Diamondbacks are probably going to tell you to get lost. And so, it's easy to see how that stuff goes downhill. But I think that we've all heard similar stories from different people when it comes to that. And listen, I'm not worried about Justin Ashley these last two races. He's got a great chance to compete for second place and hold on and finish second in points. And, in the event that Alan Johnson does something that he's literally never done in his entire career and absolutely totally trip and stumble on himself, then who knows what happens. But Tommy DeLago's worked with Mike Green for a couple of years now. He's got all the data on that car. They've got a whole season worth how they've been running the car. I would suspect the car will run just as good as it's run. The real question will become, what does the future hold? Who do they hire to replace Mike Green, to work with Tommy DeLago? Does Tommy want to make changes in philosophy in the way they run the car in the offseason if he's going to be the main crew chief? Do they bring in somebody who's more of the lead and Tommy goes back to being the, co-crew chief, but in a little more of a secondary role as he was with Mike Green? Or does Tommy DeLago become the lead guy and they hire somebody to go with him, right? And if they do that, then the question becomes, what type of changes does he want to make in the offseason? I think that's where you'll really see that change. I don't want to say effect or impact necessarily, but you'll find out if that change has any bearing more so next year than you're going to in Vegas and Pomona, I think.
Latoya says that he's ready for a junior dragster next. Is that in the plans?
Well, it'd be up to him.
Look at him smiling. He loves
that funny. You want a junior dragster? Yeah, we've given older brother that option a couple times, and he's yet to bite. But we'll see. Older brother might come to the World Finals and see them and change his mind. He has a tendency of doing that.
Nicole Clark asks, does Tony fit the RL branding? So first of all, who cares? And second of all, absolutely yes. Absolutely yes.
Tony Stewart fits anybody's branding.
I know you want to spend a couple of $1 million with us, but we don't see the fit between our driver. What, trucking over the road, trucking? Yeah, I think he absolutely does. I don't know if he's got a racer superstition about Green or not, but I think he's going to get over.
I guess the counter argument to that did Josh Hart fit the branding? Josh Hart's got, I guess maybe shipping classic cars, but I I think does a racer fit branding is not the question when you talk about partnerships. It's, for many of these companies, this is a kind of a larger conversation that we don't need to dive too far in the weeds, but be an interesting off-season topic for you, I think. And it's something you and I hear a lot. Randy Glady comes to mind in this conversation. It's sponsorship in 2025 in motorsports is less about how do you fit my branding and how do you sell to the public. Now, there are companies out there who are looking for that sell to the public, right? But many of these companies are looking for brand awareness and they're looking for B2B connections, of which Tony Stewart has probably as many B2B connections as anybody. And Richard Freeman has a boatload of them as well and has proven adept at being very good at connecting businesses, right? Look at all the different partners he's had at Elite over the years. And so can you make those B2B connections for us? And then when we come out, like these events become almost like a getaway, right? It's a trip. It's an expense for for team building and bonding and making employees feel appreciated at different parts of the country and stuff like that. That's what Randy Glady uses it for better than any company I've ever seen on the NHRA tour. And I think you're seeing more companies across motorsports do that. It's not just an NHRA thing. It's an NASCAR thing. It's an IndyCar thing. Formula One's its own whatever, right? But I think that's where this partnership makes a lot of sense. Is that
now you mentioned
Josh,
Randy Glady? That's the one thing. Like we had, and Richard didn't bite on this, and I think the not biting was the answer. Like I don't need to press the guy when you pretty much got it. They already announced Jag is going to be in a Jegs car next year.
Yep.
No word of Skag. So Skag Pro Stock Team future ? And I'm eager to just leave it there. I don't need to lean on Richard to get him to say a hard no. Skag's not going to be back. It just makes sense. You hired away my crew chief from Top Fuel. Skag is probably not coming back to the Pro Stock. We've already announced. So let's just accept that as true. What is the future of the Skag Pro Stock team? Do they go somewhere else or do they just focus on their nitro cars? I'm not asking you to answer it. I'm just floating that out there as one of the things that we have to look forward to finding out.
Many dominoes to fall in the off season when it comes to that stuff. But Randy's out there. Remember he had the Pro Stock kind of partnership association was building before he went and started his own nitro team, right? Like he had sponsorships, but he hadn't started a team. And he's got 3 race cars basically under his umbrella now. Like that's a different kind of beast. And he's got his own hospitality over there. That's really what he's out there for. He's out there for hospitality. He's out there for show my vendors a good time, right? Show my distributors a good time. Make them feel appreciated for what they do for our companies, plural, multiple companies that he represents out there. So that's what Randy needs. Randy's looking for hospitality. Similar thing, I think, to R&L. Like that was a noted point in the release talking about that change. If you read the R&L quotes from their executives, it had to do with hospitality options, what is available to them, which isn't to say that Josh Hart couldn't provide that at JFR, but Josh did not have that with his team. It is a crazy added expense. I'm not sure that the average fan understands the expense of a hospitality program. That's why you see many of these teams and organizations split their tents. And the hospitality program could be 25-30% of your budget for your race team for a year. I mean, it's a crazy expensive expense for a hospitality program. And listen, JFR's got an incredible hospitality program, but they also have some huge partners who take up a fair amount of space. So if R&L wanted a hospitality situation, and I'm not privy to the inside of this, but I'm just connecting dots. If R&L wanted a hospitality situation where they're the featured company in a way that Skag is, in a way that Napa is with Ron Capps, then it makes sense, right? Because at JFR, no matter what, you're always going to have Cornwell and Peak and some of their other associate sponsors that you're going to have to share some of it with, which is great. It is what it is. Like, frankly, we need more, in my opinion, we need more of these big hospitality setups out there and more companies coming out, bringing more people. So if this leads to R&L bringing 150 people to every drag race next year, I'm all for it. I think it's great.
Yeah, they made it so far. It seems like they've created a win-win situation for everyone. All right, so let's talk Josh Hart, and we'll move a little faster here because I want to show you some photographs from the Rock right? I want to talk about the Rock. You've never been to
Yeah.
Rockingham, right?
I've not. No.
Exactly. So you'll live
Texted Dan last week a couple times, but have not
yes. Well, it's very exciting. And I know you are a portal to those guys. So I'm going to tell you stuff and hopefully you will tell them stuff because I have surveyed the scene. You know,
Okay.
I've given my opinions. That's why I went there. I wouldn't even go there to race. That was a creative ruse to go there and scout the location and see whether or not it meets my personal approval. And
okay.
Yeah, we'll discuss that.
I look forward to it.
Spoiler alert, it did. But Josh at John Force Racing, let's get your take on that. Let's talk it out, right?
Yeah.
Josh won his first race. He does have solid reaction time advantage. Got some people in the chat section. Some are saying he's going to do good and some are saying he's going to do poorly. Of the drivers that are out there and are available, like I think you've got to give a lot of credit to Josh Hart for making this happen, for wanting to put himself into the pressure cooker to prove himself one way or another. How do you think it's going to look?
Yeah, I think Josh Hart's going to do a good job there. Josh Hart probably doesn't get enough credit for the early portion of his career because the last 2.5 seasons have been pretty rough, right? Like, I mean, Josh would agree with
surveying
that,
all the synonyms for tragic,
the last
terrible,
couple of seasons have not been.
Sad.
I mean, they've just not been good. But he has admitted that. So, listen, the early part of his career, I mean, you know, Josh Hart didn't win Gainesville because he and Ron Douglas rolled out there with the first time team and ran 366 when everybody else was running 375. Like Josh Hart drove great that weekend. He drove great his first couple of years. He has driven really well this year. Have there been a couple of times where he's, you know, early in the season, there were a couple of times where he was a little late. And then he and I had kind of a public spat over some things that I said in Norwalk and have become pretty good friends out of that because it led to some, it led to some funny insights and it led to Josh and I having a couple real heart-to-heart conversations about drag racing and driving and I think some newfound respect for each other and in thoughts on some stuff. And what I took away from it is that this is somebody who I think the most important thing was he is not afraid to take a step back when criticism comes his way and survey the environment. Maybe he'll step up for himself in the moment and defend himself. Totally natural human instinct, but not afraid to take a step back out of that and look around and go, okay, maybe there are some parts of this I disagree with. Maybe there are some parts that are true. Maybe there aren't. But at least let me take a step back and look at it, which I think you have to build businesses the way that he has. Nobody builds a business because they shut out everybody and think that they're the czar. Like that just doesn't work to build businesses of that size. You know, and I think I would not be surprised at all to see him jump in next year and win a race right out of the gate. Like it's David Grubnick, Sean Collins. It's a great car. You know, Brittany Van Epping this year. There's been some times this year where that team had a real chance to win some races, and you know, contrary to what the internet wants to tell you, it wasn't Brittany's fault necessarily, right? Like the team has had issues at times too. Dallas, I don't know your thoughts, Joe. I think Brittany Force was on her way to winning Dallas. Like my personal take, Brittany Force was on her way to winning that event.
Well, you got to get to the starting line. Like I'm not even gonna go that far. Like you got to get to the starting line, and I'm not being critical. Like that team is the one. You know, the car didn't start. Like I'm sure it
started. It did a burnout and it died, and it died because of a mechanical mistake on the team, and that hurts. That hurts in a big way. You know, but those things are going to happen. And, you know, I think if you're thinking about that team, the last two races this year, I wouldn't sleep on Brittany winning one of these last two races. I think she's going to be right there. And I think that Josh Hart's going to come out and be in a really good spot next year with that team, you know?
Yeah. And nobody's perfect.
I wouldn't expect that team to just fall apart. Like anybody who think like, you know, this is not to, you know, discredit our drivers, but many of them talk about it. I mean, Matt Hagan is one of the most vocal people talking about this, right? The driver is, you know, 10 to 20% of the equation in a nitro car. I mean, the team and the tuners are a majority of the equation in these cars. So if you have David Grubnick and John Collins, you've got a chance to win drag races. And Josh Hart's going to have a chance to win a lot of drag races.
And that's it. And he's willing to put the pressure and accept it upon himself. All right, let's do a couple of quick, you already talked Top Fuel. Doug Coletta, 141 ahead of Justin Ashley, 159 ahead of Langdon. Torrance isn't even showing up to the last couple of races. Brittany, 234 in her swan song. She's definitely going to be trying to get a win. But I don't see Alan Johnson messing this up. I don't.
It would be shocking, right? I mean, it would be very shocking.
I don't want to be shocked like that. Like watch a total stumble, unless Justin and they can win the last two races and something happens and miracle. But it just looks.
If you end up with a Justin versus Doug, round one in Vegas, and Justin beats Doug in a great drag race type of deal, then that's not necessarily stumbling. But if we're talking about Doug going and being number one qualifier and losing to a part-time car type of deal, then I think that most people are probably in agreement, right? Like you don't want to see Doug and Alan just suddenly puke the whole year away after 18 races of being as good as
it's a bring it home kind of moment, bring it home. In NASCAR terms, you've got a 5-second lead, bring it home, right?
And I think 198 is the magic number as a reminder to everybody. 198 is the magic number. Remember, in the countdown, no penalties for oil downs or crossing the center line in the Mission Food Series. So, and with 1.5 points at Pomona and qualifying points and all of that, 198 is the magic number. So just to give everybody an idea, like qualifying points matter, obviously, and could change the math a little bit. But to get to 198, Doug would probably need Justin and Langdon to both lose round one, and he would have to win the race. The qualifying can change that a little bit, but realistically, it's probably not going to end this weekend or next weekend unless Justin and Sean go out round one and Doug wins the event.
And that's the whole point of 1.5 points at Pomona. It's the final race, and that's why you should be getting your tickets right now.
Yes.
Funny car, Austin Prock, 112 up on Hagen. Hagen got close, but that was the race, like the Stampede of Speed. We haven't debriefed on the Stampede of Speed. Everybody else has those, so we can definitely move on. The guys said Life's a Drag, and Elon, we did a great job, but I think that's the frightened moment for Austin Prock and team, and I am fully expecting them to step on the pedal. Maybe not. We'll see, because they have been inconsistent, but Hagen needs to make a move immediately. Jack Beckman.
Well, the one thing that's interesting
is amazing. The battle for second.
And so that's what I was going to say is so funny car to me is a little different only because if Austin were to trip and lose in round one, like in Top Fuel, it's a 2-car race behind Doug, right? Like it's Justin or Sean because Steve's not coming. Brittany's too far back. And so it's Justin or Sean. And I think that opens up a wider window. If Doug were to make a mistake, like it's much easier for Justin or Sean to go on a run. But part of the problem in Funny Car is there's 4 cars that are basically grouped within 2 rounds because of 1.5 points from Hagen, Beckman, Caps, and Daniel Wilkerson, who has shown up to the party over the last couple of weeks. If Proc were to stumble in round number 1, there's a high likelihood that 2 or 3 of those other cars are going to race each other in round 1 or 2, definitely at some point, and kind of cannibalize themselves. So, if you're Funny Car, if you want to win the world title and you're not Austin Prock, you need Austin Prock to, again, go out early in Vegas and or Pomona, probably both. And then you kind of need one car to just step up and make a run, because it's not going to work if Hagen goes to the finals in Vegas but loses in round 2 at Pomona, and Beckman loses in round 2 at Pomona but goes to the finals or in Vegas, like flip those around. Like that won't matter at that point. They're going to cannibalize themselves. So because Funny Car is so tight there in second place, that's going to make the ladder in Vegas, I think, really like more important than normal.
I agree. I hate to break this, intense drag racing conversation for fun, but I like this guy. Kind of sus how Galvin was too busy to do a show with the Low Zone, but he isn't too busy to be on this show every week. He's not on every week.
I was going to say, I've been on once in the last month.
This guy's attacking you, which I find to be fun and funny. All right. I do agree with your summary in Funny Car, but It's not over. And Daniel Wilkerson as the subject of Driven, the NHRA reality YouTube show. If you guys haven't seen it, part 2 just dropped. You got to watch it. Daniel Wilkerson, I think, mostly universally loved. I mean, I guess that's not really a thing, mostly universally, but the people that I know think he's great. Behind the scenes with Daniel Wilkerson, you want Drive to Survive type thing in NHRA, go watch it after this show is over. He is great, running great, in contention for second place. He is in contention for the number 2, and you never know.
Very real possibility.
Yeah, good job. All right, Pro Stock. Richard Freeman gave a full-throated endorsement to Dallas Glenn to win the championship. It was very nice to hear him say he does his own clutch, he puts up his own awning, he drives his own truck, he's an old school racer. Richard said, I want Dallas to win. And I said, yeah, a lot of people do, except there's that Greg Anderson problem. And I'm afraid for Dallas. Like, I'm afraid for Dallas. Let's be honest, that Greg Anderson could go Greg Anderson again and rip it from this fine young man that we all love so much. And Greg, who we all love Greg too. Greg will be a 7-time champ. It will be another one on the big trophy pile, the championship pile back there at KB Titan Racing Engine. Greg would just rip it from Dallas and put it on his pile. But that's how it goes in this class. And I'm concerned. Dallas is going to have to step up and seize this and bring it home. Can he do it?
So, yes, 100%. And I think last year is the reason why, because he saw last year how you can never take your foot off the gas, right? Not that he did, but, it started in Dallas, no pun intended, with an Aaron Stanfield win and kind of went, downhill, so to speak, at the end of the year. And Dallas was in a similar spot going into the Stampede of Speed. In fact, I think last year he might have been in a better spot than he was going in this year, as far as having a chance to kind of run away with it. And then it got away from him. But I think there's a couple of notes on Dallas Glenn. One, I think when you lose a championship like that, it helps you learn how to win a championship that way as well. And so I think that's going to drive him. Two, this is going to sound, anti-competitive, so to speak. I think Greg Anderson deep down is probably also cheering for Dallas Glenn. Like, if Greg Anderson wasn't Greg Anderson, like if he wasn't Dallas's competitor, like the only guy who could catch or run with Dallas and had his own sponsors, Greg Anderson would be Dallas's single biggest fan. I think Greg sees a lot of Dallas in himself. Worked hard, went to work on a world championship team, always wanted to drive, couldn't fund it himself, never thought he'd get that chance, had somebody come along who gave him that chance, right? Greg Anderson had Ken Black come along. By the way, I'm just going to tell you, if you're a Play NHRA person, the sentimental part of things tells me I'd be leaning towards Greg and only Greg in Pro. Like, it's either Greg or take the weekend off in Pro Stock, because they're doing a celebration of life for Ken Black on Thursday night. It's our first trip back to Vegas since Ken passed. Like, if Greg Anderson's ever wanted to win a drag race going into a weekend, you've got to imagine it's for Ken Black in Las Vegas, right? But like, I think there's a lot of parallels throughout their careers. And for Dallas, it was Dan Provost, who was back at the Motorplex. Was great to see him there. I'm sure we'll be at the last couple of races. And there's a lot of parallels in their careers. Greg worked on his car for much of his career. I mean, Greg obviously still is very much involved in the tune on that car, but Greg did many of the things that Dallas now does on his own car, to be out there, to race, to win races, to compete for world championships. So, yeah, Dallas can absolutely pull this off. And if Dallas wins Vegas, then you might as well just write the name on the trophy, I think. But, is Greg, like, this be the one time in Greg's life, I don't think you'll see Greg have a meltdown if he doesn't win the world championship.
Because I think the thing. I'm not sure.
I think there's a little bit of Greg who just kind of feels like it's time, right? Like,
I don't know if that's in Greg. Like, that's the thing. It's like, yes, of course. That's the normal thing.
I would generally agree with you.
We just did a normal rationalization, except I don't know if that exists in Greg Anderson. I think Greg Anderson.
I generally agree with you, except for there's something about talking to Greg about Dallas that I have noticed. Like, it just changes his tone a little bit.
Well, we're going to find out.
My take. I'm not telling you he's going to lay over for Dallas.
No, that would never happen. And that's the thing that everybody can feel.
No, absolutely not. Come on. If he was going to lay over for Dallas, it would have been last year. Like Dallas is going to have to earn this champion.
Yeah, no, that's and Dallas is doing a great job, and we're just going to have to see. Like, I think, I want to say everybody's rooting for the kid because they're not. This Greg Anderson's got a whole bunch of fans, but we'll see.
He does have a bunch of fans.
And then the final deal, Richard Gadsden leading the points by 72 over Gage Herrera, by 105 over Matt Smith, by 186 over Braden Davis. So it's definitely a 3-horse race. Matt, going back to Matt Smith, if Richard were to stumble early, then Gage and Matt could come right back into the fold real easily. But the way it has worked, like, okay, but Gage is still Gage, and he could win the last 2 races. And I think this is still wide open because Richard has yet to win a championship. This is his opportunity, but I like his position.
I think everybody's got to like his position. What a wild turnaround Pro Stock Motorcycle has been, right? I mean, Gage and Matt. Braden Davis showed up. Braden Davis looked like he was going to explode onto the scene and win some races and maybe win the world title, sneak up, be the one person who could race with Gage. And Richard Gadsden just kind of quietly, I think he and Eddie just kind of quietly sat there like, okay, everybody keep talking about those 3. He won Bristol and we still kind of, we got to Richmond and it was like back to, Braden Davis was, he was the cool kid in town all of a sudden. We got to Sonoma and Matt Smith's bike comes to life there as it typically does. And it's like, meanwhile, like here's Richard Gadsden just kind of quietly going about his own business, minding his own business. Very workmanlike, winning rounds, and has peaked at the absolute opportune time of his career. And not just him, but I made a point of this in the winner's circle in Dallas. Eddie Krawiec has peaked at the absolute best time of his career. Like, Eddie Krawiec is a guy who tunes that motorcycle. This is a man who won a world championship without winning a race. Eddie Krawiec knows how to win world titles, right? But he's also won a bunch of races in his career. And I think there was a big chip on Eddie's shoulder over the last couple of seasons because it was all about Andrew. And then it was all about Andrew and Gage. And Eddie was sitting there going, guys, I'm pretty good at this too. And I haven't forgotten how to do this. And he and Richard have come on in the biggest way, almost out of nowhere. It sounds weird saying that, I think, because it's one of the 2 Vance and Hines motorcycles, but we've been so consumed in Gage and Matt for the better part of 2.5 years. And here we are going into the second to last race of the year. Gage and Matt are racing for second place unless Richard Gadsden makes a huge mistake. Now, Pro Stock Motorcycle, to me, more than any of our 4 classes, is the class where somebody can make that mistake and have it really come back to bite them, right? Like, yes, in Pro Stock, you can cheat the clutch, you can do this, sometimes cut a little too close, go red, miss the tree, be late, lose on a whole shot. But like, there have been moments this year, and we see it every year in Pro Stock Motorcycle. Most Pro Stock Motorcycle riders can see ambers and go red if they really get after it. Almost on cue. Because the bikes react so quick, and if you just roll it in a little bit farther, you can cheat the reaction time a little. I mean, so there's ways to really cut that reaction time close with those things. Sometimes you cut it too close. You know that, Joe. Sportsman racers, right? You just get all of it.
What is that? Some sort of shot? The race 1 at Rockingham where I was 006 red. Is that what you're saying?
No, I actually forgot about red, race 1? I actually forgot about that until you brought it up. So you're the one sulking on it. And then the other part of that is, like, there's been a couple times this year where we've seen them, some of the quick bikes, Gage, Matt, purposely try to be, like, I want to be on the safe side here because the motorcycle I'm racing is 0.3 slower than me. And it's bit them, right? Or almost bit them. So, because those games get played more in motorcycle than any class, I feel like, on the starting line and trying to stay within that safe zone and whatnot, it leaves open a window to make mistakes. It just does. But I really like Richard Gadsden's place right now. Like, you can tell me I could be, 2.5 rounds up going into the second to last race in a category where it's basically been a 4-horse race all year. I like my chances.
The immortal words of Pat Riley: "You're never the guy until you're the guy."
Right.
And we'll see how it works. But if you can't find something fun in this final 2 races, then you got a problem. Maybe you're not as much a drag racing fan. All right. So this past weekend, I was at the Rockingham, a traditional track that has been there years ago, Winston Invitation, all kinds of good stuff. Rockingham, North Carolina. I flew in on Tuesday right after the show. Dave and Sue Morris and myself caravanned over there Wednesday morning, got in some test and tune. It was my first time at the track as a racer. I had been there with Masters Television to do a Chevy show, but in that time, never saw the track. You know what I mean? We're doing car show stuff. So some observations and some videos that I'm going to play for you. First of all, we got an incredible heads-up semifinal round in Stock Eliminator featuring Brad Plord. Let's watch. How about that? Now you can see some of the cues of the track, the tower and the concrete grandstands. It's very reminiscent of what Miami Hollywood Speedway was. They're cut into the side of the mountain, and there's a great viewing area. To me, if there's some discussion like, this could be one of the TBD races options. Maybe, it's in consideration. Let's look at what I consider to be the best 1,000-foot viewing location on the tour. Watch this, Jason.
Okay.
The best 1,000-foot. Those grandstands go all the way to the 1,000-foot. You are right over.
I'm not real good with my viewing here, but that sure looked to me like it was more like half track.
Yeah, it was. I uploaded the wrong video. But the bottom line is that you get that view from 1,000-foot as well.
Amazing.
And you're right on top of that track, man. The problem is that those concrete grandstands are like busted up and destroyed. And I don't know what happened to them, but just years and years of work. The good news is they are fixing them. Check this out. Perfect. Like beautiful new concrete. And they've got that going to say, 400 feet out, and they've got another 600 feet of concrete work to do. If they wanted to, which they probably don't because it would be expensive, they could put stadium chairs. Those step downs on concrete are exactly the same you find in a major stadium, where you've got your stadium chair with your cup holder and your armrest and your fold down seats. Like, they could do that if they wanted to. I think right now the plan is for people to just sit on concrete, which would be fine. But it is what it is. One of the hidden gems of the tower. Let me see if I can bring up a photograph of the tower, Jason.
Now, you sent me some tower stuff over the weekend, and I thought it was way cool.
It is unbelievable. The tower at Rockingham. So let me upload this photograph and you can see exactly what we're talking about. All right. So this is the tower, winner circle, Jimmy Stahl. I want to shout out to Jimmy Stahl, race 1. And Jimmy hadn't won since he crashed. I guess it was Atlanta a few years ago. I was on the mic for that. Long road back to the winner's circle. Very emotional. Congratulations, Jimmy. Jimmy's the one who let me get my top dragster license. But you see the scoreboards on the tower, and then the second floor, left-hand side there, is race control. The middle is the media center, and the right is like a suite. The top floor, what's up there, right? The top floor. This is the old school Winston suite. And I went up there and I'm thinking to myself, I can't certify that T. Wayne Robertson spent all his slush fund on this. But check this out. It is a wood millwork engraved, mirrored, laser etched, if they even had laser etched mirrors. The bar is beautiful. Look at that bar. Like the suite, the tower suite at the Rock was epic. It is epic. You could, the ghosts of whatever happened there, whatever it was, were you could feel it, man. I felt the energy.
What type of Winston and Don Garlitz or Wally Parks, and conversations happened up there.
Right. What happened in that room? What
Right.
happened there? That's what I want to know. What happened in the 1980s?
So I'm rooting. After you sent that video, I decided that I immediately went from having no rooting interest on the TBD to rooting for that race on the single premise that I can convince Dan Van Horn and the team to relocate the announcer's booth into that area and have the bar be functioning. And then I'm in.
If you can make that happen, I salute you. For those
you're in as well.
We salute you. Yeah. And so I want to say that after having spent a considerable amount of time at the Rock this past weekend, here is the view down the track. This is right above the announcer booth.
Yeah.
That is right above the announcer booth. Beautiful, beautiful
Yes.
view. That if we could fill that left-hand side, if they do all the concrete and we could fill that left-hand side, it will take the place of Bandamere as the track with the most unique character.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I see what you
Follow me?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's got a Brainerd meets Bandamere kind of vibe because there's trees and there's nature. I will give my endorsement if they are able to live up to all the other associated elements, which I don't know what they are.
I don't know what they are. Yeah.
Well, I know
It's
safety
long.
wise, like
It's a long list, right? Yeah. I'm not talking about them specifically. I'm saying in general, racetracks that want to hold national events have a lot of things that I think I didn't even realize. So I started working for NHRA full time, right? Like things that go into it, things people ask questions about, right? Bathrooms, like not even permanent bathrooms. Like, okay, we got to have X amount of porta potties. Where can you put them? Does it work on a layout? And I thought to myself, yeah, this is why I'm not in logistics. Like, I would have never thought about that, right? Like, we can't run a national event here. Why not? We can't put enough bathrooms in. What about porta potties? There's not enough area to put them. Man, I would have never thought about that.
right.
Like, I saw a preliminary map for Maryland, and I went, boy, that gives me like angina just thinking about trying to build it. Like
Well, I love that you used the word
the people's jobs who it is to sit there and like, draw that stuff out logistically before you sign a contract to host a national event somewhere.
Exactly. And having gone down into the shutdown area, and the track surface was great. They're working on the seats. The main bathrooms are beautiful and clean. But that top, like when you're up on top of that grandstand, there is so much potential. Like you see so much potential. They could have tented suites up there. They could have, like I said, stadium chairs. They could build.
Bandamere had something similar to that, right? I'm trying to
they had
a starting line, a tented area up on the starting line. Yeah,
absolutely. So I really wish them great success. I had a great time at their track. Lost second round both days, but I'm okay with it. Gave up
the car looks great.
Thank you. Everyone was very excited about the car. There's only Pontiacs in this view, by the way. That was taken by the McNichol family. Dylan there with his, me with mine, Dave Policella in the back, just the whole fam there. And I gave the stripe up by 3/10,000ths in race 2. 3/10 thou. AccuTime was the timing system. Didn't really need that extra number, right? But now that I've got it, didn't need it. But now that I got it, it was 3/10 thou that you gave it up by, Joe, not by anything. My friend Dave Morris went, what was it? 00001 red. 0001. So 1/10 thou red.
0001, yeah.
0001 red in race 1. Like, there you go. How do you feel about that? It wasn't 1 thou. It was 10 times less than 1 thou. Just to make you feel worse about it.
It was the definition of a nanosecond.
When I went 6 thou red, I told him, hey, I was 60 times less red, more red than you were. So we had a blast. Double divisional, the Southeastern Division team did well. They ran the race well. We got both of them in. It was a great time. Great time was had by all.
I'm glad that you had fun. As you know, I've been pushing you to drive that thing more because you spent all the time building it.
If you really did, though, you'd make the schedule next year so that some of these Southeastern Division races weren't on top of nationals. Just saying. You want to hear my story?
Do you think I make the schedule?
No, I know, but you know somebody who does. You can put it in their ear.
I do. Yes.
Yeah.
I want to hear a story. Yes.
You want to hear my story? I'm going to tell the story now of what happened to me. So I've been racing for 3 days and having a good time. Sunday's the final day. I'm excited about round 1. The day before, I had a little bit of a water leak, and we had to drain the radiator, but we put in a new 1/8-inch pipe plug into the bottom of the radiator, and I had made a run to go get distilled water and water wetter produced by Redline Synthetic Oil to put in the radiator, and we had filled it back up, and it wasn't leaking, and I put it away for the night because it was dark. But I was going to get there early to test the radiator to make sure everything worked out just fine. So I got up early. I checked out of my hotel where if we were to go there, we would be staying in Pinehurst, which is where they have played the U.S. Open. So there is a Longhorn Steakhouse and there's multiple hotels, and it's actually very nice, 22 minutes away, a very easy drive down a 4-lane highway. So I get up early, I check out of my hotel, and I'm pulling in onto the 4-lane road, and I think to myself, let me gas up. So I got a full tank of gas for the first run down the road home. The plan after I win the race is, I've got 2 plans. If I win the race and if I lose early. But I digress. I pull up to the fuel pump. I fuel the truck. And then I get back in the truck to go to the race. I'm about 40 minutes early before I wanted to be there at 8 o'clock. And the truck won't start. And I'm stuck at the pump. So I won't give you the long version, but I try to get a jump start. I use a lithium battery charger. I try to start the truck. The truck is dead. It will not start. I'm stuck at the pump. So I run to AutoZone. They're not open. I run back. I'm trying to figure it out. So I talk to this guy with a Ford Lariat. He comes over. He's going to try to jump start me. And then we start talking about the starter. Like, maybe it's the starter. Maybe we need to bang on the starter. Do you have a hammer? I don't have a hammer. It's in the race car trailer. So he breaks out his tow hitch receiver. The big metal thing that holds the ball. And we start banging on the starter. We're banging on the starter. Now, by the way, it's now 8 o'clock. Okay. Banging on the starter. Get in it. No start. It doesn't start. It's dead. I'm trapped at the gas station. So he's like, hey man, I got a tow strap. I can tow you to out of the way of the pump and you can get an Uber or something to the track. And I'm like, all right, I'll do that. So he goes and he gets a tow strap and he starts to hook up the truck to the tow strap. And I'm like, F this, man. This can't be how I go out. I can't even get to the racetrack. So I put the key in one more time and I turn it and it starts. I was like, dude, I'm good. And I zoom down to the track. So I get to the track. I get in the car. I shut the truck off. I warm up the car. I'm driving around, warming up the car. Everything is fine. I pull into my pit. I'm getting ready for round 1, thinking about it, running numbers, doing weather, making calls. Got Gary Stinnett on the line, Foggett, go buy a can of Foggett from Sunup to help me and all of these things, right? Then someone says, Joe, your car's leaking. Look under the front of the car. The car has started to leak. It is leaking from the radiator. So now we got to drain the radiator again and go through the entire process again. I get the original plug. I Teflon tape the heck out of it. My friend Juan goes in there and just, I don't know, man. It's down in there. We try it again. Go warm it up again. Doesn't leak. Pull the lanes. Round 1, win the round. Round 2, give up the stripe. Okay, nice day. But is that truck going to start, Jason Galvin? Is that truck going to start again? And what if it does? So the plan was, if it starts, I'm going all the way home. I'm not shutting this thing off until I get to my house.
Straight through. You got enough gas in that to go all the way home?
Well, no, I'm going to have to stop and get gas and just leave it running.
Okay. Right.
And that's what we did. I took off at 4:54 p.m. I drove to my first gas stop, pulled in, left it running, gassed it up, went again. Got further down the road, 3 gas stops. I get 200 miles on a tank. It's like about 693 miles or something like that. At 4:54 a.m., I pulled into my house and I had made it.
I would have fallen asleep. That's an impressive drive. You should get the Never Rest Award for the divisional in Darlington.
I'm telling you. Just listen, when we select the Never
Rockingham,
Rest performer of the race, I have done something crazy. I have done something
So
crazy.
you've now lived in that moment. It's like all those people who say you can't be an announcer unless you've raced. Like now you are qualified to hand out the Never Rest Award because you've lived
12 straight hours of driving.
I'm
You didn't
impressed.
ask me about the bathroom stuff, and we'll just leave it out there. We'll just leave it. Nobody needs to know
Perfect.
nothing about
That's
that.
good. Yeah. We'll leave it to
Right?
our imaginations.
Just
I
leave
just
it
want
to
you
the
to know
imagination.
this is what I was looking down for. While I was listening to your story, because your entire conversation about banging on the starter reminded me of this incredible scene from Armageddon where
Yes.
the spaceship won't start and they're trying to get off and the Russian cosmonaut goes, "Let me show you how we fix it." And he just takes a wrench and starts beating the crap out of the rocket until it starts.
And it started.
and then off they went. And that was the only thing I could think of was Joe. I don't want to be on this rock anymore.
That's exactly it. Except I didn't want to be at a gas pump in Pinehurst, North Carolina. And it started the last time. And it started. Oh my God. It started.
Get me off this rock.
And to God, it went down that way. And
well, I'm glad you made it home.
I made it. I made it, baby. I made it. I had a Celsius and 2 5-hour energies. And somehow when I got home, I was unable to fall asleep.
Of course. That's how it always goes.
Jason,
All right, can I drop a little Friday Night
Yeah.
Vegas news on you here?
Yeah,
Can't
drop
tell
it.
you can't tell you who or why at this point, or who or what exactly. But we're gonna have one of our famous Friday night blowout extravaganzas coming up in Las Vegas. Announcement to be made this week, I believe, about a Friday night bonus for qualifying, complete with a cool name that has a play on Halloween because Friday in Vegas is Halloween.
Yes.
And complete with a guest announcer for the what should be free to the public YouTube extravaganza that we do. It'll be Joe Costello, Brian Loans, and special guest third member of the broadcast crew in the booth. Not somebody our race fans are going to be expecting. Non-endemic to NHRA, but motorsports personality with a rather large social following.
Male or female?
Male.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'll just leave that little sprinkle of a tease.
Yeah,
out
that's
there.
but
But
it's
all locked
about.
in from my understanding. Friday night Q2 bonus session with a cool name and a cool local sponsor who we all know and love. You'll recognize it right away. They got behind it. I'm very excited about it. I'm glad that they got behind it. And I'm looking forward to that. And fun in the booth. Guest announcer as well to join Joe and Brian. So
Wow, that's you've really shaken things up here today, as if Richard Freeman, Josh Hart, telling the stories, me beating on a starter, you giving all kinds of information, as if it wasn't enough on one episode of WFO. Great job, Jason. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Joe. We'll see you in Vegas.
Later to Kobe. Thanks, Kobe. Later, bud. There he goes, Jason Gellman. Well, there he is with us here on WFO Radio. How about that, guys? And if that doesn't entice you to subscribe to the show, like I feel like we put on a good program here, guys. I feel like we do. And I know we've got a lot of viewers out there, and thank you very much for checking out our program. We've been going on this show for a long time and would love for you to join us every week. There's a podcast, obviously. We'll take this audio and the podcast will be up in about 20 minutes. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud. You can't always be watching, but you can be listening when you're going on the road. And I was listening to podcasts on my 12-hour drive. I was podcasting and I was listening to music and I was doing whatever I could do to somehow stay awake. Now, here's the car. You know, like of all these videos that I'm posting for Jason Gallon, here we go. Project Pontiac. That's me in there, and I had a blast. And that's how I want to spend the final moment or two of the show. But I will answer your comments. So put your comments in the comment section, guys. Let's hear what you have to say while I do a couple of things. One, Life's a Drag. I haven't listened to Life's a Drag for 2 weeks. I went back and I checked those guys out on the Crazy Drive, and they have done a great job. They are noon Eastern typically on Wednesdays, but they are also in the podcast feed. So check out Life's a Drag for all kinds of behind the scenes stuff in the world of drag racing. And that's guys, if you don't know what's going on in the world of drag racing, you're not reading between the lines. You're finding out all the news a little bit ahead of time if you just kind of put the pieces in place as you hear them here on the program. I've spoken with Michael Heiner. We're going to do a Hear It from Heiner show for Patreons only later this week. Michael Heiner, Pro Stock Crew Chief. Get Biofuel Pro Stock Crew Chief. What's he think about the conclusion of the season? You can definitely check it out by becoming a WFO Patreon. Patreon.com/WFO radio. You can also watch the show on PowerTube TV. Thank you to PowerTube TV and everybody who supports us. It's been amazing to see how many Project Pontiac t-shirts are going out there, whether it be the Miami Hollywood Speedway Classic shirt or WFO sweatshirts. They are all on sale from time to time. This is what the Project Pontiac shirt looks like. Anything that you buy representing the show, it's not really about making money on selling the gear. It's more about promoting the show. That is my personal challenge, promotion of the show. We put on a good show. We've got great guests. I feel like our production is on par as it needs to be. I think you can have overproduction, frankly. But promoting the show is where we need as much word of mouth, grassroots as is possible. So if you can rock a WFO radio mug while you're at work and tell people it's your show, I would love that. Join Patreon, patreon.com/WFO radio, and then support our sponsors like Fog It. Every day, fog in the car after it was over, keeping everything as perfect as can be. Fog It is available at Summit Racing Equipment, summit-racingequipment.com. Thanks to Summit for supporting Project Pontiac. Our great friends like Marvin Rodak, RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com, Bernie's Speed Shop, BURNYZZ.com, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. This makes a great gift. It's kind of expensive. It depends on what you think of the person you're getting it for. But if you have a business and you want to reward an amazing client, then it's really cheap. It's a bargain to bring a person on a life experience where you're driving dragsters together because they're a great client or a great salesperson or a great worker. Go to frankhawley.com. HusseyPerformance.net, Redline Synthetic Oil. Of course, we always shout out to Randy Neal at CWT Industries and FTI. They redid the torque converter because we wanted to loosen it up a little bit. And this thing was flawless. FTIperformance.com. Shout out to those guys. Total Seal Piston Rings, Jesse Converters, and everybody who supports WFO Radio. Appreciate you guys. And remember, Life's a Drag will be on tomorrow. Richard Freeman and this guy, Tony Stewart with R&L Carriers for next year. Tony going to be racing against Leah. Yeah, that guy is me. I'm a little child. What the heck happened with my Vulcan haircut? What happened? What happened? How does it work out like that? All right, let's see what everybody's got to say. At least your steering wheel didn't come off the wheel. Yeah, Walt. Yeah, that can happen. I hear that can happen. But also, I didn't go on and win the race, so there's that. Speaking of starters going bad, we had a starter die in the lanes after being paired for the first round in race 1 in Superstock, says Logan. That is a terrible bummer. And some things you just cannot control. But honestly, I think my situation is much more frightening. I'm in the Carolinas. I'm with my equipment. I have no way to get home if that thing doesn't start. Like losing a race was the least of my problems. Not getting home to do this show was the biggest problem. Like I had to get this show in. I knew that Richard was going to be on. I knew Josh was going to be on. Derek, Joe acts like he doesn't know. No, I know. I know a lot of stuff. I don't know everything, honestly. I tell people, don't tell me. Not because I'm going to reveal the secrets, because someone else is going to reveal the secrets, and then I'll be a suspect. That's the problem. It's like I am a steel trap, but somebody else might not be. So don't tell me, because then I'll be on your suspect list when someone else reveals the information. Right, Logan? No doubt about it. But it was such a great time hanging out with everybody. Totally late. Forgive me. That's okay. Welcome to the world of sportsman drag racing, Joe. Great interview with Jason. Thank you, Tim. Sportsman Drag Racing. They welcomed me into their little community, fraternity, whatever you want to call it. People coming by. I had a nice junior dragster kid and his dad come over. They gave me a hat. So cool. But I did very little social media, and I was really trying to focus on being a racer, and had such a blast. I got 1,000 opinions, some of which I probably shouldn't share, to be very honest with you. I shouldn't share. And now the truck starts fine every time. No, not yet. I mean, I haven't gone over. It's at my mother's house where we keep the car. And I'm assuming I'm going to have to change the starter where it is. I can pull the car out and into the garage, but I'm not worried about that just yet. Great to see you out there in competition. Saw John Force, TV Tommy Ivo, Shirley, and many more great races in the 70s. What an awesome place. Yeah, guys, The Rock, really cool. Gets my full endorsement. Assuming they can do what they've got to do to be safe for the drivers and be a good place for fans. I'm sure there's plenty of porta potties they could put in. They do not have enough bathrooms just naturally, but they'd have to put in porta potties. I don't see that being a problem. Some people said that there's like sand that they would have to seal off. I don't know that, but, and staff, everybody that was at the staff at the Rock was, you could tell, like, their normal staff, kind of older folk that loved the track. Like, to staff a national event, you gotta staff up. Parking, plenty of parking. It was good stuff. Really good stuff. C5 Pete, turning 60 in November, going to Pomona for my birthday. We'll see you there, Pete. I'm excited about that. It's been especially bad in the last 10 years or so. Those grandstands have been there since the late 60s, and they've just aged and started coming apart over time. Logan, they're redoing all of them, or they're redoing a lot of them, and they are coming apart. They're all broken, and they have guys working nonstop all day, every day I was there, including Saturday and even Sunday. There was someone working, fixing concrete, and it looks beautiful. But me being a jerk can't see past the most amazing part. Like, they could bolt down stadium seats if they wanted to. And it would be just like being at Hard Rock Stadium, where you go down your aisle and you got a cup holder and you fold down seat number 22 and you sit there. They could do that for some of the seats, maybe a VIP section. Maybe they could build, if they wanted to go crazy, they could build a covering over seats. They could do anything they want. They have got such great potential there. It is not a blank canvas. It is a retro if NHRA wanted to have a retro race and encourage retro paint schemes, this would be the place to do it. It was amazing. I had a great time. Erica and Greg, both great racers and people. I'm an EE fan, but Greg Anderson is basically a pro stock winning Terminator. If the nickname Terminator wasn't already kind of assigned to Peter Biondo, and I don't know, maybe Peter hasn't run NHRA for a while. Maybe at some point we reassign the nickname Terminator, but Greg Anderson is not going to say, well, Dallas, that's not going to happen. And that's the thing. Like, in deep down, if you love Dallas, and Dallas is a great person, guys. Like, that's the thing you need to know about Dallas, Glenn. We get to know them maybe in a way that you don't get to know them, through the TV and 2-minute interviews. We see Dallas all the time. Dallas is a genuine, positive, wonderful person. He really is. He's a good person. Like, Dallas should be the mayor of a city. Like, Dallas should have responsibility over people's lives. He's a drag racer, right? Maybe should have aimed higher, Dallas. I don't know, because you're a good guy. And Richard Freeman wants to see Dallas win. And all that is worth nothing, because you got Greg Anderson over there, and he's Greg Anderson, and he is a Terminator whose only task is to not just go back into history and kill John Connor. It's to win races and championships. And that's all it is. And if it is the final round, well, wouldn't it have to be the final round? If it's semifinal round in Pomona and it's Greg and Dallas, I assure you there is no chance that Greg Anderson is going to say, well, maybe I should let Dallas, or it would be okay if Dallas wins. Like, that's it. Not let Dallas. Maybe it would be okay if Dallas wins. He's not going to think that. He's going to beat Dallas if he can beat Dallas, and Dallas will not win. That's crazy. Crazy. Joe. Yes, Greg is important. Yeah. Excited to see everyone supporting racing action. Please tell someone who has been fast. Yeah, that's true. To be the best, you got to beat the best. Woo! That is the final thought. All right, guys, I'm going to go fix a starter, I guess. I'm going to go fix a starter on a truck. Anybody done that? But I made it. I made it home. 12 hours straight through, twice. Going up to the Carolinas and coming back. You know, it wasn't as bad as I thought. Like, if you told me that, it was fine. Talking to my friends on the phone, listening to music, going through my music catalog. Had a blast. Everybody was so kind. The racers were so kind. Excited that I was there, offering to help me. And, I got through first round both days. That's a win. Red lighted second round the second day, 6th thou. That's just trying hard. And gave up the stripe by 3, 10th thou. Kevin McNichol, who is a former division champ. We had a good race. I had him on the tree, 16-48. That's the thing. I let him off the hook. And the most important miss on that is I would have been able to race Sue Morris, my great friend, in the next round on the ladder. Thanks to Fuel Factory for providing the Fuel Factory. If you haven't switched to Fuel Factory yet, you need to get in on that. Sports and Racers. They are great fuel. Actually made a little more power, a little more torque on the dyno. There's that. FTI Performance Transmissions and Torque Converters, clearly. Summit Racing Equipment. My car is built with Summit. We would have got it done, but right at the end on the finish line, the last, when you're building a house, it's the last little stuff. Summit helped me get that done in a timely fashion that we were able to get the car done. And Wright Trailers. Michael Scott, man, this dude comes from, I'm like 8 hours in or 6 hours into my drive. Michael Scott comes flying by. Burp, burp. Thank you, Michael Scott, for helping us out. Get Project Pontiac on the track. And it was just great. Next opportunity to race, Orlando Speed World, 2026. WFO guys, hope you enjoyed the show. See you next time.